Hey everybody, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about a fascinating course called Death, Dying, and Bereavement, Psych 35. I'm Mark Stanford, Associate Professor in the Department of Psychology here at Cabrillo College, and I teach this course as well as others, but this is a most unique one. It's so not what you think. So first of all, let me tell you about a concept called thanatology. What the heck is that? Well, it's actually the formal study of death and dying and the means by which human beings cope with loss or death. That's called thanatology. It's the formal research and studying of how people cope with loss and the process of death and dying. The word actually comes from the Greek word thanatos, meaning death. The thanatologists also are cited in debates over topics such as assisted suicide and abortion and organ transplants and others, medical ethics and morals. While the study of death might seem an odd topic, it's an important part of understanding biology, medicine, psychology, sociology, culture, and life itself. So over this semester, if you choose to take Psych 35, and I hope you do, be like a thanatologist in training. And by that I mean be naturally curious about the study of death, dying, and bereavement. And as you delve into reviewing the multicultural and various perspectives about death and dying, see which of those new perspectives might enhance and perhaps even expand your current views. So why study death and dying? Well, this is an article that came out of the Journal of Death Studies, which is saying that why college students are dying to get into death classes. And thousands of college courses on death and dying are being held nationwide and actually teaching lessons about life, which is certainly what we do in Psych 35. Interestingly, at a recent Death Educators Conference, yes, there are Death Educators Conferences. Wild, huh? Dr. Eileen Cupid, Professor of Human Development at the University of Wisconsin and the President of the Association for Death Education and Counseling, told the audience that death is coming out of the closet. It's no longer a taboo subject. And at the conference, there were hundreds of death educators, including clinicians, medical professionals, funeral and hospice workers, clergy, social workers, psychologists, and others in attendance. And one of my favorite quotes was in answering the question, why study death? Ugh. Psychologist Herman Feifel of Brooklyn College said it succinctly when he said, the democracy of death encompasses us all. To deny or ignore it distorts life's pattern. And in gaining an awareness of death, we sharpen and intensify our awareness of life. And that's kind of the overall goal of Psych 35. I give a comprehensive overview of the study of death and dying. We'll look at personal and societal attitudes regarding death in our society, as well as those in other cultures and in other times. And throughout this course, I familiarize the students with the research from the psychology, sociology, anthropology, history, medicine, and even some spiritual perspectives on death, dying, and bereavement. The course includes a weekly combination of readings from a world-class textbook, interactive conversations with fellow learners, written essay assignments on stimulating and thought-provoking topics, weekly quizzes, and a midterm and final exam. And we'll look at a broad overview of the many issues related to the meaning of loss, death, and the experience of grieving in various cultures and societies throughout the ages. So the goals of the course are analyze historical, psychological, and cultural differences in death, dying, bereavement, and loss, and then critically assess the psychological complexities of human responses to death, dying, and bereavement. And here's our text, the 10th edition of The Last Dance, Encountering Death and Dying by Lynn Dispelder. Don't get an 11th edition, it's not as good, and don't get prior editions because it may adversely impact your grades. So an important note, Psych 35 is not a morbid and heavy course emphasizing sadness, sorrow, and loss. No. It's not a course that focuses on depressing stories about loss. It's not a semester that looks at the sensationalism of the worst of human behavior, such as genocide and terrorism and homicide and suicide. although we will explore these aspects, but more from a scientific and data-driven perspective. Psych 35 is, on the other hand, designed to help you understand the nature of the experience of dying and death in society. It is a way to understand death as a universal phenomenon that is constructed differently among different cultures and societies throughout history, and it's a comprehensive assessment of the theories of death that researchers on the views of people who are dying have faced their own death or the death of a loved one. And it's an appropriate and educational self-reflection about death and dying in order to assess your own beliefs, your own attitudes about the subject, even using humor at times when it's appropriate. So thanks for your time, and I really hope to see you this semester.